Hello everyone, and so today I'll be talking about our apps called Keats, Nutrition Made Easy. So now Keats is a nutrition app that was inspired and developed because of the current existing nutrition apps out in the market. And the reason why we came up with this idea was because we found out that most of the nutrition apps out in the market have the same problems, and most of them aren't actually trying to solve the problems that these nutrition apps have. And one of the biggest problems is that they actually aren't trying to help people eat more healthy, but they are more on trying to let people track how much they're eating. And so that is why we came up with Keats in order to solve that problem. And to be more specific, the objective of Keats is the following. So we allow users to discover healthier recipes and while at the same time allowing them to create their own healthy recipes and share it online with others. And we also allow them to talk to dietitians, to discover dietitians, and talk to them, ask for a consultation, ask for a meal plan, and basically just ask for help in terms of their nutrition. So that is Keats. And along the way, of course, there have been some constraints while developing our app. And so these are the following constraints. So the original intention for this app is of course to integrate the recipe and the dietitian feature to a calorie tracking feature. Now of course, I mentioned before that most apps only do calorie tracking. They only help people know how much they're eating, but it is still essential for eating healthy. And due to the time constraints, it won't be implemented for now. And of course, there have been some features that have been dropped because of the time constraints, and one of which is the dietitian feature, which will not be implemented for now. And also, lastly, one of the constraints is that the application has only been tested with Android OS 12 and specifically with an Android phone model called an Oppo X3 Pro. And so that is Keats. Okay, so now allow me to talk about our WBS, or our work breakdown structure. Now, overall, we have divided the major modules into five, which are the mobile app, the UX UI, the server, the database, and the testing. So for our mobile app, we had to specify what screens we had to develop, what components we had to develop, what features we had to develop. So we had to specify that. And for our UX UI, we had to specify the screens that we had to design, the components that we had to design, and the overall structure. And so for our database, we also had to consider the tables that we were going to build. We had to consider also the design of these tables and the overall structure again. And so for our server, we had to specify the endpoints. Now these endpoints are the ones that are going to be communicating between the database and the mobile app. So we had to specify each endpoint that will cater to each feature that was specified in the mobile app. And lastly, of course, is the testing. So the testing, this is where we test out each feature that is specified in the mobile app. We had to test the looks of it, the flow of the mobile app, and just overall just testing the entire mobile app. So that is our work breakdown structure.
Moving on, to ensure that the app runs flawlessly, there are hardware and software resource requirements that need to be met. For the client device hardware requirements, an Android smartphone equipped with a dual-core processor, 2 GB of RAM, and 3G mobile connectivity is required at the minimum. However, an Android smartphone with a quad-core processor, 4 GB RAM, and 4G LTE connectivity is recommended. For the client device software requirements, the Android smartphone must be running Android 12 or above. For the server software requirements, the minimum version requirements of each software are as follows. Version 1.18 of Golang, version 14.3 of Postgres SQL, version 1.1.1 of Research, version 2.2 of X proxy and version Alpine of Nginx proxy and Quick. Moving on to project schedule. The project schedule is divided into phases. The phases are UX UI design, database design, server development, mobile app development, and testing. So in our Gantt chart, when visualizing our project on the Gantt chart, the collective timeline for these activities spans a total of 7 weeks. So this strategic distribution of tasks ensures an efficient approach to our development process, with each phase contributing to the overall success of the project.
There are 9 user requirements defined. This collection of statements describe all significant aspects of our system. The user requirement 1 is about the signing up and logging in of users to the system. User requirement 2 is about the discovery of recipes by consumers. User requirement 3 is about the viewing of recipe details by consumers. User requirement 4 is about the recipe creation process. User requirement 5 is about recipe searching. User requirement 6 is about the liking of recipes created by other consumers and the editing of recipes and reviews. User requirement 7 is about the viewing of recipes that the consumer created or liked. The user requirement 8 is about the discovery of dietitians by consumers. And lastly, the user requirement 9 is about the connection between consumers and dietitians.
Okay, now so allow me to summarize our system requirement specification. So for the SR1, this basically talks about the authentication for both consumer and dietitian. So this means allowing the both consumers and dietitians to log in to our app, to sign up to the app, and basically allowing them to input their details that they want to input when they sign up. And so for SR2, now this talks about getting the filtered recipes. So for the consumers, if they want to sort the recipes based on the highest rated, the highest protein, or the highest carbs, or the lowest calories, or the lowest fat recipe, they can do that, and that has been specified in our SR2. So for our SR3, this talks about getting the details of each recipe. So that's included the ingredients of the recipe, the amount per ingredient, the reviews of the recipe, the instructions of the recipe, the rating of the recipe, the count of the rating, and so that has been included in this SR3. And so for our SR4, now this talks about creating a recipe. So here we specify that the system allows the user to input the name of the recipe, the description, the ingredients of the recipe and how many in amount, and also the instructions in creating and in preparing and cooking for the recipe. And so for our SR5, now this talks about searching for a recipe since we are using search engine database. So this allows for users to search for recipes more easily since typos have been supported in the search engine database. And now for our SR6, now this just talks about allowing users to basically review or like a recipe. So when they review, they can input their comments and the rating of their review. And then once they submit that, they can also edit their reviews. And also when they like, they can also unlike the recipe. And this will all be updated. This will all update the details of the recipe. And so for our SR7, so this just talks about the users being able to get the recipes that they have created or the recipes that they have liked. And also for SR8, now this talks about getting the list of approved dietitians so that the users or the consumers can see who the dietitians that they can talk to or ask for a consultation. So for SR9, this is where the consumers can fully communicate with our dietitian. So they can talk to the dietitian, they can ask for consultation, they can ask for a diet plan, a meal plan. So this is where the SR9 talks about that. And so that is our system requirements specification.
Due to time constraints, some features have been dropped in the current cycle of production. One example is the dietitian feature, which has been dropped with the current iteration of the app. Further testing of the app on several Android models will be done in order to detect bugs that are non-existent on other models. As the database expands, extra resources must be devoted to handle the expansion of the database. Lastly, Keats, as a nutritional app, should adapt to health trends and food product changes as time passes.
For our test plan, the Keats Nutrition App test plan focuses on evaluating the UI presentation, button and field text functionality, and overall simplicity. So the testing team, comprising actual consumers, will conduct remote tests using their mobile devices and internet access. So this inclusive approach aims to gather valuable insights for refining the app based on end-user perspectives. So there are 23 test cases conducted and all of them passed.
Okay, so we are in the login and sign up page of our app Keats. And in this demonstration, I'm going to sign up first. So let's click sign up and let's put a username, Josh123. And I will put my info, so my name, my last name, and a password. So let's just make up a password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30. 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and click sign up. So here we are at the home page of our app, or the recipes page. As you can see, there are recommended recipes. So, and this is the profile tab. As you can see, it's empty because due to time constraints, we have to drop some features. So let's go back to the recipes page. And in the recipes page, obviously you can view other recipes, but you can also create your own recipe. And if you click here, create recipe, and select an image for your recipe. So in this recipe, we're going to make a salad. So let's click on this salad pick and crop that. So recipe name, salad, and the servings, let's just put 1, prep time 20 minutes, description, healthy salad, and let's put the ingredients. So to put ingredients, we have to click this button, add ingredient, and we have to search for the ingredient. Let's search for broccoli. Broccoli. And we're going to adjust the weight of the ingredient, or the grams. So let's just say it's 50 grams, and it's Chinese broccoli, which is cooked. And let's click save. And we're going to add more ingredients like olive oil. Olive oil. I have to select olive here. There. With, let's just say 20 grams of olive oil. And lastly, tomatoes. Let's just say maybe 40 grams. And red tomatoes that are ripe and not cooked but raw. Okay, 40 grams, and click save. Now we have listed the ingredients. We're going to list now the instructions on how to prepare the salad. So in the instructions section, we're going to click it, and we're going to click the add instruction. So in the first instruction, we're just going to say prepare all ingredients, and add another one. Mix the ingredients. And I'll add another one and enjoy. And the image, we're going to add again the image, so it will have a image when we click on the recipe, because this main image is just for the thumbnail. And after all that, we're going to click save. Now we have created our own recipe. As we can see here, everything has been saved, the ingredients and the instructions. So let's go back. To view the created recipes, we can click here the My Recipes section and it will show up. So, and if you can notice, there's a button, two buttons, created and like. And in the created section, all the recipes that you created will appear here. And in the like section, all the recipes that you liked will appear here. So to test this function, we're going to discover and just select a recipe. Here we have broccoli pesto pasta. And we're going to like this recipe. And let's go back, check it. And here it is. It appears in the like section. And we can also leave reviews to recipes, including this shredded chicken. We can leave a review. Let's just say it's 5 stars and it's very good. Click save, and now our review is saved in the recipe. We can go back. The created recipes can be also deleted. So we're going to go back to our created recipe, the salad. We're going to click it, and in the top right corner, there is a trash can icon which we can select, and there's a confirmation prompt if you want to delete the recipe. So we're going to click confirm, and the recipe is deleted. And we can also edit a recipe. So let's create another one like this for carbonara, but we're going to put random stuff so we can edit it later. So we can demonstrate the edit feature of the app. So carbonara, add ingredient, eggs, yolk, save, and add pasta. We're not going to specify this recipe. We're just going to add ingredients for demonstration, and for the instructions we can put just prepare, just for demonstration purposes. And for the image, you can put the image we used earlier. Okay, so save. So let's go back to my recipes. And as you can see, the recipe has been created, and we can edit this recipe. So we can edit the random gibberish we just inputted earlier, and we can correct it. So we can put now the correct name, which is carbonara. And we can also add ingredients to the current recipe or add instructions. and just click save. And now the recipe has been created, has been edited, and the changes has been reflected here. From the random letters, it's now carbonara. And that is all for this demonstration, and thank you.